Hey guys, what's going on? It's Steven, and I'm here today to show you how to play Warpaint by Fletcher. Basically what I'm showing you is how to play my arrangement of Warpaint by Fletcher. In the actual song, I think there's very little, if any, guitar in it. So this is just kind of my arrangement, my version that I made, just singing and playing one acoustic guitar. So I've got a lot of requests and had a lot of comments and messages and stuff. I posted a cover of me doing my arrangement of Warpaint, and people liked it and they wanted to know what I was playing in the chords and stuff. So anyway, this is how I play it. So I play it in the key of G major. Fletcher plays it in the key of B major. I play it a couple whole steps down from her, just because I'm a dude and I have a lower voice. So the beautiful thing about all this is that if you have a capo, you can use what I'm showing you, and if you want to play it in her key, you can not tune down and put it on the 2nd fret, and you'll be in the key of B. Or you can tune down, if you want to, put it on the 4th fret, and you'll be playing in the key of B. So once you kind of learn the basic gist of what I'm showing you, you can kind of manipulate it and find the key that best suits your voice and play it in that key. Don't be afraid to play it in a different key other than the artist if it fits in your voice in a better key. You should totally do that. So the first thing you want to do is you want to tune down your guitar. I've already done that. So basically, this string right here you tune down to a D. This one is going to be tuned down to a G. This one gets tuned down to a C. You guys can see what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of going down the line here. The next one gets tuned down to an F. Second from the bottom, that gets tuned down to an A. And then lastly, this bottom string here gets tuned down to a D as well. So the top and the bottom strings should both be tuned down to a D. Cool. So now you're going to be playing all the fingerings like we're doing it in A major, but it's actually going to sound like you're playing it in the key of G. And I just chose that key because it suits my voice the best. So there you go. So once you've got your guitar all tuned up and it's staying in tune in that lower tuning, you're ready to begin. And I'm just going to take you through step by step in the song. The good thing is it's a pretty simple song. There's only, I think, 4 chords that she uses the whole time. Maybe 5, I think it's just 4. And so it's pretty straightforward, but in order to keep it interesting and so it doesn't get too mundane, I vary it up a little bit with doing some cool rhythmic things and other stuff just to give it a little bit of interest and dynamic. So the first part of the song, it starts with just this kind of beat, basically. So what I did for that is I'm just hitting my guitar. Now you can hit your guitar anywhere and make a beat. If you hit it up here like that, it's going to be more of like a snare kind of crack sound. But in the beginning, it's really more of a bass sound. So what I'm doing is I'm hitting it down here like that. Another thing you want to do when you're doing this at the very beginning, if you just do this, I don't know how well you guys can hear that, but I'm actually hearing some like kind of an unpleasant ringing out of these strings. So in order to prevent that, what I'm doing is I'm just kind of lightly touching them, just kind of holding them in my hand, and that'll mute them. So you'll just get this solid bass tone out of it like that. And so the rhythm goes right? And so that happens a few times, like 3, 4, 5 times, whatever you want to do until you feel like coming in and singing. You're basically doing that, and then the very last time it goes. So once again, that's bang, bang. So what I did is instead of going bum, the very last hit I substituted by taking my hand and hitting the strings, which gives it a different percussive sound. So it's, again, it's okay? So the chord that I'm playing there is an A major chord. It's really a G, but the way I'm playing it is actually an A major shape. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail about where to place your fingers on all these chords because all the chords are very basic. If you just go online and just Google, chord generator or chord chart, you'll find where to put your fingers to make all these chords because they're pretty basic. So I'll describe them briefly, but if you need a little bit of extra help, just do some research for a few minutes, look them up online, and you'll be good to go. Okay, and I'm also going to put the chords that I used in the description of the video, so you can look at those and then you can do your Google research, figure out how to make the chords, and then come back and you can learn the song. Okay? But basically what I'm doing is I'm playing a bar chord, which I use a lot throughout the song, okay? So I've got my first finger, and I'm fretting across the 5th string completely, and then with the rest of my fingers I'm making an E major shape, okay? And it sounds like that. Alright, so when I first hit that chord, when the verse comes in, I'm hitting it and just kind of sliding down, okay? And then from there, I'm doing this. Okay? So in the actual song, there's not a whole lot going on in the verse. It's mainly just Fletcher singing, some backup vocals and some percussion, and I think maybe a bass or something is going on. But it's pretty sparse, so I don't want to be strumming full-on chords during the verse. It doesn't really feel right, and it doesn't really give you anywhere to go when you get to the chorus, right? Because you want to build up to that. So what I'm basically doing is I'm kind of just playing the bass line, essentially. And in order to do that, I'm taking this same first finger that I was using to make the A major bar chord, all right, and I'm putting it across the strings, and I'm pressing down on the top, the 6th string. I'm pressing down on that, so I'm getting a definite tone out of that. But then I'm kind of lifting up with the rest of my finger, so it's essentially kind of muting the rest of the strings. And so even though I'm hitting all of the strings on my guitar, I'm really only hearing this note, and the rest of the strings are making this really cool percussive sound. So this is cool for a few different reasons. One is you can play a lot sloppier. You don't have to be nearly as accurate and just hitting this top string. You can just go ahead and strum all of them because everything else is muted. So that's nice, and you can focus on singing rather than doing this kind of thing. It's also nice because it gives you a really cool percussive sound. So what I'm basically doing is I'm doing this with my first finger, and then I'm kind of using my other fingers. You don't have to do this, but I kind of do it, and I kind of just lay them across the other strings just to give me kind of an added confidence that I'm actually going to be muting all of these strings and nothing's going to be ringing out. So just to kind of like back up and show you one more time how I get there, I'm playing that bar chord, sliding down, coming back up, and I'm doing that thing. Now, as far as the rhythm of what I'm doing, I change it every time. It's not really super important to play exactly what I'm playing. What's important is that you get the groove of the song. And like I said, I change it up every time, and it doesn't really matter. The important thing is that you have the groove of the song down. And to get the groove down and to make it sound groovy, what you want to do is you want to make sure you're accenting certain notes. Because if I just were to do this, pretty boring, right? So you want to be kind of internalizing this rhythm. And when I work with my students, I'll tell them actually just, just talk it or sing it first. And just kind of get that, internalize that and get that in your body. And that's kind of what you want to bring out when you're playing, okay? That just takes practice, but essentially you're basically just doing this continual down, up, down, up, down, up kind of thing with your hand. And you're just playing this one note right here, and you're muting everything else, and you're emphasizing different beats to kind of move it along and give it that sense of rhythm. And that's basically the verse. And then every 8 beats, I'm punctuating with another A major bar chord that I'm sliding down on. So, I'm not sure if I remember all the lyrics at this point, but it's basically something like this. Bang, bang, I can hear the shots and the fireworks soar and the sounds of the... Here we go again. Drop down, no one wants up when the arrows are drawn. The sergeant's on the saddle again. And so that's pretty much all you're doing for the entire verse. And that's verse 1 and verse 2, you're doing the same thing, essentially. Okay? Now, the next part of the song is going to be the pre-chorus. Alright? Very simple. It's basically just 4 chords. And these are pretty much the same 4 chords that are used throughout the entire song. So the first verse is the exception. That's just basically 1 chord. You're just hanging out on the A chord the entire time, playing the bass note. And then when you get to the pre-chorus, this is where we start to introduce some other harmony. So the pre-chorus is too late to leave these walls, this castle's been surrounded. So that's that part of the song. And what I'm doing is I'm playing an F sharp minor chord, so barring the 2nd fret, and then with my other fingers I'm playing an E minor shape, So that gives me an F sharp minor chord to an E major chord, pretty standard, to an A, that's our home chord, that's the tonic chord, okay, and then to a D. Alright, and what's nice about this is it provides some nice contrast, because now we're going to, for the most part, with the exception of this chord, we're playing lower on the neck and we're playing mostly open chords, which is really nice and provides contrast from all the other barring kind of stuff that we're doing up on other sections of the song. And the strumming pattern couldn't be more simple. You're just strumming the chords every time they change. So once again, that's going to sound like, too late to leave these walls, this castle's been surrounded, won't stay and watch it fall around us. And the last one, you can hit it, and I hit it and just kind of stop it like that, and it gets you ready for the chorus. And that's pretty much the pre-chorus, and that happens 2 times in the song, and both times it's the exact same. Okay? Now with the chorus, you're going to be playing the same chords that you were playing in the pre-chorus, but you're going to be voicing them a little bit differently. And again, this just creates a little bit more contrast, makes it a little bit more interesting, and it gives the song some dynamics. Okay? So, what you're going to be doing when you start the chorus, you start out with the same F sharp minor chord you were playing before, okay? And then you're going to go to an E, but you're going to play it as a bar chord, okay? And this is basically like a bar chord that's in an A major shape, okay? And so I am playing that on the 7th fret, and I'm barring it. So we already talked about the other kind of bar position. We've looked at the E minor position, where we barred it just a second ago. And the A major chord, we're barring that and using an E position. For this one, we're barring at the 7th fret, and we're doing an A, what's called an A position bar chord. Okay? Again, if you're not familiar with all this stuff, a quick Google search will get you tightened up and up to speed on all this stuff, so you can come back and learn this. But pretty simple, pretty standard chord, that's what we're doing. Okay? That, instead of playing the E down here, we're playing it up here, in this position right here. Okay? And then we go back to our friend, the A major chord, right? And then from there we're going to go to the D chord, and we're going to bar that as well. So you're going to stay on the same fret, and all we're going to change is the bar chord position. So we're staying on the same fret, but instead of playing an E shape, we're going to go to an A shape, and that gives us the D major chord. Okay? And so it's going to sound like this. Basically, okay? So what I'm doing, the nice thing about using the bar chords at this spot in the song is it allows me to get a lot of cool percussive hits in there as well. So when I'm barring my chords, what I'm essentially doing is I'm striking them, and then with my left hand, I'm lifting up slightly, still pressing down, but ever so slightly, it creates this nice kind of chukka-chukka percussive sound. And that's how I'm able to do. So I'm just kind of doing this the whole time, and with my left hand, at the right spots, I'm just pressing down firmly so we get that chord sounding. So whenever I want to, pretty straightforward. So I've just got my right hand going up and down the entire time. When I'm not actually voicing a chord, I'm getting the chicka chicka, which is the rhythm that's propelling the song forward. Okay? And then the beats that I'm emphasizing the chords on are as follows. I'll do that just a little bit slower for you guys, okay? Basically. And so what it sounds like with the vocals, oh, getting a call right there. Bring the big guns out, shoot now. I make the drums beat harder for you. Bear it on the ground, and so forth. So that's basically that part. And then after that, the colors on my face are blue. I sing it like And then this goes to kind of like the second part of the chorus, the main part of the chorus, and you're going to just keep playing the same thing. Watch me put my war paint on, my war paint on. And that's pretty much all it is. Okay? And then after that, we get to the part where they're doing a little turnaround right before you get to the second verse again. And it's So that's as simple as it looks. I'm just muting it with my left hand. Hitting all the strings, have it muted, just making those chukka-chukkas. And that takes us into the second verse. Troops on the map and your allies and your tribes telling you to... and so forth. And that's the same exact thing basically as the first one. Okay? Then we come again to the pre-chorus, which we've already learned. Same as the first. And then we go back to the chorus, and all that repeats. Okay? Then, in my arrangement, I go straight to this part of the bridge. It's not easy, but I'll draw my knife for you. And that should look familiar because that's basically the same chords that you're playing in the pre-chorus, and you use it for the bridge. Same exact thing. The only difference is there's a couple extra chords at the end, okay? It's not easy, but I'll draw my knife for you. I repeat, it's not easy, but I'll draw. Now back to the F sharp minor, to the E. So you repeat this whole progression. You do that 2 times. Then after you play the D the second time, you go back to the F sharp minor, and then you end on the E. And then it goes back to the chorus. Now, for the final chorus, I actually start playing the beginning of it like I would do for the verse. And in the actual song, it's a little bit different too. She does the same sort of thing. She stays on the A major chord instead of doing this chord progression for the chorus like we've been learning. The first part of it stays on the A major chord. So, in other words, I'll play it for you. This is what it should sound like. My knife for you again. Bring the big guns out, shoot now. I make the drums beat harder for you. Bury it on the ground, bleed out. I bring the colors of my face in blue. I sing it like, then it goes into the regular. Watch me put my war paint on, my war paint on, and so forth. So that's kind of a one little exception thing that she does for that very final part. First part of that last chorus, she's basically just, or what I'm doing in my arrangement, same sort of thing you were doing for the verse. And then when you get to the watch me put my war paint on, that's when you go back to the tried and true chorus we've been learning. Okay, and then that basically takes us out to the very end of the song. There's a few chords that she plays at the very, very end. So the very ending would be watch me put my war paint on, F sharp minor, on E major for you. And then finally, for the very final chord, we're playing A in the open position down here. Okay? So the very final chords are kind of like the very beginning part of the pre-chorus, that same chord progression, only you don't go to the D after the A, you just go F sharp minor, on, to the E, for you, and then you play the A. And that's pretty much it. That's the entire song, so thanks for watching, guys. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions or if anything wasn't clear, I just kind of did this really quickly. Leave some comments and I'll try to help you out as best as possible.